Let's get right into it. Number 12. Phantom Buzz Syndrome. Picture this. You swear your phone just vibrated in your pocket. You pull it out. No texts, no calls, no shady Tinder matches. Nothing. Congratulations, you've just been scammed by your own nervous system. Phantom vibrations are basically your brain going, hey, let's throw some static into the human experience for fun. It happens because your body is now so conditioned to phone notifications that your sensory system sometimes misfires. Neurons around your hip or thigh pick up on tiny muscle twitches, pressure shifts, or even clothing brushing against skin, and your brain interprets it as your phone saying, "Pick me up, you sad, lonely creature." Here's the kicker. It doesn't just stop with vibrations. Some people report hearing fake notification sounds. That's right, your brain will literally hallucinate a ding. It's like Pavlov's dog, except instead of drooling for food, you're desperately checking your phone for validation. And it gets worse. Studies suggest the more stressed or socially anxious you are, the more likely you'll experience phantom buzzing. So, in a cruel twist, your phone makes you anxious, which makes your body hallucinate that your phone is trying to comfort you, which only makes you more anxious. Basically, you're in an abusive relationship with a rectangle. Number 11. Scroll-Induced Time Warp. Ever open TikTok, just for a second, and suddenly it's 2 a.m., your back hurts, and you're questioning every life choice that led you here? That's not bad luck. That's your brain's time perception system being mugged. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that tracks time and helps with self-control, basically gets hypnotized by infinite scrolling. Every new video or post is a tiny hit of dopamine, the same chemical your brain uses for gambling, chocolate, and falling in love. Except here, it's being drip-fed to you like water torture, one thumb swipe at a time. The design isn't accidental. Infinite scroll and autoplay were invented to destroy your sense of, one more and then I'll stop. Each swipe resets your attention, so your brain never fully registers time passing. Think of it as being stuck inside a casino with no clocks, except the slot machines are memes, and you're losing hours instead of money. And here's the cherry on top. The more you binge scroll, the less accurate your internal clock becomes. Your brain's like, that felt like 10 minutes, while your spine says, buddy, we've been here for 3 hours and I'm filing for workers' comp. Number 10. Algorithmic personality theft. You might think you're curating your feed, but plot twist, your feed is curating you. Algorithms aren't just showing you content, they're shaping what you think is normal, funny, or worth caring about. Say you click on one conspiracy theory video. The algorithm's like, cool, you're now a conspiracy theorist. Here's 20 more videos about lizard people and fluoride. Or maybe you laugh at one cat meme. Suddenly, you're knee-deep in feline content, and 3 weeks later you're Googling cat-sized Viking helmets, because apparently that's your personality now. The unsettling part? Your brain adapts. Humans naturally mirror social environments, so the more you're exposed to a type of content, the more your values and humor shift toward it. You're not just watching the algorithm, you're being slowly reprogrammed by it. Think of your brain as Play-Doh. Every scroll, click, and like is the algorithm pressing a new shape into it. Over time, your personality isn't just you, it's you plus whatever an invisible code decided to spoon-feed you. Basically, you're a co-author of yourself, but the other writer is a corporate AI whose main goal is ad revenue. Comforting, right? Number 9. Face filter dysmorphia. Imagine looking in the mirror and thinking, ugh, why does my face look like my actual face? Welcome to the psychological carnival known as filter dysmorphia. Thanks to Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, and basically any app that lets you slap an AI airbrush on your pores, millions of people now prefer their filtered selves over their biological ones. Here's how the brain gets tricked. Every time you stare at your flawless, filter-perfect digital reflection, your brain recalibrates its normal face baseline. Suddenly, your real face, with all its inconvenient skin texture, asymmetry, and humanness, feels like a knockoff version. The more you scroll and the more you filter, the bigger that gap becomes. And the fallout? Surgeons have actually reported patients bringing in selfies with filters on them, asking for those features in real life. Think about that. People are literally demanding Instagram face in the flesh, which is like asking a tattoo artist to ink Photoshop directly onto your skull. Psychologists compare this to body dysmorphic disorder, except now it's digitally induced. You're not just fighting society's unrealistic beauty standards, you're fighting an AI's idea of perfection. So, yeah, you might be beautiful, but your brain's like, nah, we're holding auditions for the role of anime character number 3. Number 8. Memory offloading. Quick question. Do you know your best friend's phone number? Probably not. And it's not because you don't care, it's because your brain outsourced that info to your phone ages ago. This is called cognitive offloading. Every time you let your phone or Google remember something for you, your brain goes, cool, I'll just delete that file from storage. It's efficient in the short term, but it's also like living with early-stage memory loss that you chose. It gets creepier. Studies show people are more likely to remember where to find information than the actual information itself. In other words, you're not remembering facts, you're remembering the path to Wikipedia. So, instead of storing Einstein's theory of relativity, your brain just stores Google Einstein theory thingy. This rewiring has long-term consequences. The less your memory works out, the weaker it gets, like a muscle that atrophies. So, if the Wi-Fi ever goes down, you'll be left sitting in the dark, unable to recall your own blood type, but perfectly remembering that Google Images had a really funny picture of a raccoon once. Basically, your brain's slowly becoming an unpaid intern for your smartphone. Number 7. Sleep sabotage lighting. You know how your phone has that soft, innocent blue glow? Yeah, that glow is basically your brain's worst enemy after midnight. Blue light from screens tells your brain, hey, the sun's still out. No need to sleep. It suppresses melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep, and tricks your body into thinking it's time to be productive. Except, of course, you're not being productive, you're watching a guy on YouTube explain why Shrek is a misunderstood cinematic masterpiece. The irony? People stay up late scrolling because they're too wired to sleep, but they're wired because they're scrolling. It's a vicious cycle, like giving your brain a double espresso every night at 11 p.m. Eventually, your circadian rhythm gets wrecked, leading to insomnia, fatigue, and the delightful experience of lying awake at 3 a.m. thinking about that embarrassing thing you did in 8th grade. And just to rub salt in the wound, researchers found that even dim screen light can mess with your sleep quality. So yeah, night mode helps a little, but it's like trying to put a seatbelt on while skydiving. It's too little, too late. Basically, your phone is sabotaging your bedtime so you can stay awake to consume more content, which keeps the ad dollars rolling. Sweet dreams. Number 6. The GPS brain shrink. Once upon a time, humans navigated entire continents using stars, moss on trees, and that one uncle who just knows a shortcut. Today, you'd probably get lost walking to a cafe 3 blocks away without Google Maps holding your hand. And it's not just laziness. This dependence literally rewires your hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory and spatial awareness. Normally, when you figure out a route, your hippocampus lights up like Times Square on New Year's. But when you blindly follow GPS, that brain region basically goes, I'll sit this one out. Over time, less activation means less growth. In fact, researchers found that professional taxi drivers in London, who navigate without GPS, have enlarged hippocampi, while GPS-addicted folks, not so much. So yeah, your brain might actually be shrinking while you argue with Siri about whether you should have taken that left turn. The creepy part is how subtle it is. You don't notice your spatial memory slipping until one day you can't remember where you parked at the grocery store, even though you've only been inside for 12 minutes. Basically, your internal compass is being swapped out for a subscription plan owned by big tech. Number 5. Dopamine slot machine. You ever notice how every app loves to make you pull down to refresh? That's not design, that's psychology theft. It mimics the exact mechanics of a slot machine. You swipe, you wait, and boom, new content, maybe even a notification. Ding ding ding, you just hit jackpot, dopamine edition. Your brain's reward system thrives on unpredictability. If you knew exactly when a post would get likes or when the next funny video would appear, you'd get bored. But since it's random, your brain gets hooked, chasing that next hit of stimulation like a gambler feeding coins into a glowing box of disappointment. This is called variable ratio reinforcement, the same principle casinos use to keep people glued to slot machines until their retirement savings vanish. Only now, instead of money, you're burning through time, attention, and whatever's left of your focus. And the kicker? Apps intentionally sprinkle in delays, like showing notifications a few seconds later, to keep you pulling that digital lever. You're not just scrolling, you're playing a never-ending lottery where the grand prize is another cat video. Jackpot loser. Number 4. Digital empathy collapse. You know how it feels easier to roast a stranger online than it would in real life? That's because your brain's empathy wiring kind of shuts down when you're behind a screen. Normally, face-to-face interactions activate the mirror neuron system, the part of your brain that helps you feel someone else's emotions. But online, you don't see tears, hear tone shifts, or watch someone's face crumple when you tell them their haircut looks like a tax deduction. Without those cues, your empathy response is muted, and suddenly you're tweeting things you'd never dare say at Thanksgiving dinner. This is called the online disinhibition effect, and it doesn't just make people meaner. It also makes relationships shallower. If your brain doesn't get the full emotional feedback, it doesn't invest the same way. So yeah, your DMs might be filled with people, but your nervous system still feels lonely. Here's the unsettling twist. Studies show prolonged exposure to online communication can lower your baseline empathy levels in real life. Meaning, the more time you spend arguing with strangers in comment sections, the less patience you might have with your grandma telling the same story for the 5th time. Congratulations, your compassion is now on airplane mode. Number 3. Reality blur filters. Okay, here's a nightmare scenario. You're scrolling through your feed, and you can't tell if a picture is real, AI-generated, or just very heavily edited. Welcome to the era where your brain's truth detector is getting fried like an old motherboard. See, your visual system evolved to trust what it sees. If something looks detailed, consistent, and familiar, your brain stamps it as real. But with AI filters, deepfakes, and hyper-edited selfies, that trust mechanism is being hacked. Your brain can't easily distinguish between reality and digital cosplay anymore. The result? Your sense of what's normal gets warped. Spend enough time staring at flawless, unreal faces, and suddenly actual human skin looks wrong. Watch too many perfectly crafted AI landscapes, and real sunsets seem underwhelming. It's like your senses got tricked into expecting HD reality 24/7, and when they don't get it, disappointment floods in. Psychologists call this the perceptual adaptation effect. Basically, your reality calibration adjusts to the fakery, not to reality itself. And once your brain calibrates to the lie, good luck appreciating the truth. At this point, your nervous system is basically a bad art critic, unimpressed by the original, obsessed with the filtered remix. Number 2. Attention span slaughter. You ever try watching a movie these days and realize you can't sit through a 5-minute scene without checking your phone? Yeah, that's not just you, it's your frontal lobe getting steamrolled. Attention span isn't just about willpower, it's about how your brain's reward circuits are trained. Short-form content, Reels, TikToks, YouTube Shorts, are designed to constantly reset your focus every 10 to 20 seconds. Each swipe tells your brain, don't bother with patience, we'll feed you something shiny instantly. Over time, your neural pathways for sustained attention weaken. It's like training for a marathon by sprinting 10 feet, collapsing, and then starting over. Sure, you're exercising, but your endurance is toast. And here's the dark twist. Once your brain gets used to fast stimulation, slower activities, reading, conversations, even hobbies, start to feel like wading through wet cement. You're not bored, your brain's tolerance for calm has been bulldozed. Which explains why a 2-hour movie now feels like an eternity, but 6 hours of doom scrolling somehow evaporates. So, yeah, your attention span didn't just get shorter. It got murdered, buried in a shallow grave, and replaced with a TikTok loop. Number 1. Tech-generated echo chambers. Here's where things get really unsettling. Technology isn't just warping your perception of reality, it's actively trapping you in a customized version of it. Every like, every share, every click is data that algorithms use to decide what else to show you. That means your feed isn't a reflection of the world, it's a mirror of your existing biases, polished until it blinds you. Over time, your beliefs, fears, and values get amplified in a feedback loop where you only ever see what agrees with you. The psychological effect? Confirmation bias on steroids. Normally, humans seek evidence that supports their beliefs, but tech supercharges it by cutting out opposing views altogether. Eventually, it feels like everyone agrees with you, because everyone you see online does. This doesn't just warp your worldview. It changes your behavior. People in echo chambers become more extreme, more defensive, and less willing to compromise. You're not just influenced by technology, you're being quietly radicalized by it. Think about that. Your sense of reality, community, and even morality might not be yours anymore. It might belong to a handful of algorithms written by a programmer who just wanted to keep you scrolling. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.